Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening or their ascension process. And today I'm going to talk about a very unique cycle that you're bound to experience as your vibration continues to raise. I'm going to call it the breakdown cycle. And in the beginning, when this would happen to me, I would freak out because it's a very physical, real experience that is just unlike anything I've gone through in my life. However, having gone through it several times, I've come to discover that it actually has profoundly positive implications, and there are many things you can do while in it to deal with it more effectively and get to the prize much more quickly. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what is the breakdown cycle of awakening, why you should celebrate when it starts to happen, even though the appearances can initially be a little bit deceiving. And then lastly, how to manage it, how to roll with it, how to benefit from it as you're going through it. So what is the breakdown phase of awakening, Victor? What is it, buddy? Well, I'll tell you. It's when your vibration raises to a certain point and all of a sudden an aspect of your physical life becomes so dissonant with that new vibration that it causes actual disruptions. What inspired this video was me speaking with one of my clients, and she's having this happen in a very big way as she's moving. She was in a condo or an apartment or something for a while, and she's decided to move, and she's kind of like in that in-between phase where she's got some things at the old place. Her boyfriend and the boyfriend's daughter or something, they're staying there, and she's kind of hanging out at the new place. Well, every time she goes back to the old place, the place that is no longer vibrationally compatible, she experiences just a flooding of negative circumstances, negative energy, things breaking down, just problems. She doesn't feel her best. She feels like they're just sucking the life out of her. She can notice the moods of her boyfriend and even the dog. It's just when they're there, it's so like irritating, so incompatible that it manifests in very obvious physical problems. I've had this happen many times. As something as simple as okay, I have my eye on this new vehicle I'm going to buy, and right now I'm still in this old one, but I like that one. That right there in of itself, that decision to buy a new car can cause your current car, while still in it and driving it, to break down. You're getting flat tires, the air conditioning is going out, and it's a brand new car. I had a situation where I slid in, randomly hit a patch of ice, and I slid into a freaking gas station, a gas pump for that matter, things like that. But it's not just the one thing, because things like that can happen in short succession, where it's like, whoa, what's going on here? So that's kind of how it is. I've also had this every single time I've moved, especially because that's kind of a big jump. I remember specifically when I was staying in Florida. We moved down to Florida for a short time, and then we decided we're gonna move again. But as we are waiting to move, it got so crazy. The house literally started just falling apart. The lights were totally, the electricity of the whole house was very inconsistent and wishy-washy. The TV would just turn on, lights would not work, and then the next day you'd flip the same switch, they would work. The air conditioning would bust, and we were in Florida. This one time, our back patio, it was like a lot of people who live in Florida, because of all the bugs in the summer, have like their whole patio and backyard is kind of screened in. Well, there was this little tear. 2 days later, it was just infiltrated by bugs and birds, and it was just crazy. And it was all these things stacking up at once, and we felt like, we had the feeling like if we continue to stay here, it's not going to be good for us. All these things are, not only are they like undesirable occurrences, but they also have an energy and a synchronicity about them saying, go, get out. You want to move? Well, you got to move. It's not going to work here anymore. And at that particular time, we did. We acted quite hastily, and we moved out a whole month and a half early, which was not a cheap place to rent. So it was a stupid decision on paper, but we just had that sense of urgency to get the heck out of there. So initially when these things would happen, I would say, oh boy, oh no, the breakdown cycle. I wouldn't call it that, but I've been through this before and I know how it goes and how inconvenient it can be. And initially I would see it with resistance and just as a burden, something I didn't feel like contending with and something to be dealt with. However, having seen the cycle play itself out to completion, I now know that it implies a big positive change that's just happening fast. Quite simply, literally, that's exactly what that implies if you're going through that. And later in my life, this most recent time when we moved, many of you who have been following me know that about a year ago or less actually, we bought a small RV and we really wanted to move out to California, and we finally made the decision to take our little travel trailer and move out to California. Well, once we made that decision, before our house even went on the market, our house literally started falling apart. There was a random flood in our upstairs. We came home from a trip and there was just water everywhere. Just the neighborhood started taking on an eerie tone. Unfortunately, my dog got hit by a car and died. Just all this crazy shit happened. And that's not to scare you. I believe the dog thing was more part of my path. Again, this video is not to intend to instill fear. It's just kind of saying that. Anyway, aside from the dog dying, which obviously it still affects me and I'm very hurt, I still had a positive mindset. I knew that, okay, this positive change we wish to make is actually probably rather imminent, even though it seems like there's a lot to do. And I started to focus and get excited about the move, because I know every time this breakdown cycle goes down, it always leads to not just a little small upgrade, not just a change in position of your job or a new pair of sneakers. It's always a fundamental big life change. It really comes around a lot when you're about to move, honestly. But any other big life change, while when you're kind of dancing between both worlds, like you're focused there, you put momentum on getting there, you're kind of already there, but there's still this like unresolved, you're still stuck in this other situation for a little while. That's when your vibration is so high, it's like ready to pop into this new reality, this new situation. But in the meantime, you're kind of hanging around where it's no longer compatible, hence all the disruptions. But again, that implies this is all going to go away and then there's just going to be this. So the point is, don't freak out, celebrate. It's a good thing. It spells a massive, massive positive change that is going to happen quite soon for you. And thirdly, I'll go ahead and talk about a couple things I've learned to do as a way of coping with this situation. So the first thing I try to do once I notice this breaking down phase is going down, it's happening right now, in fact, with me in my RV. We have the desire, we have 3 children living in a decent sized RV, but we now realize that we would be much happier in like a condo or an apartment or something, just because our children are getting a bit older and we kind of want to ground ourselves for their benefit. Anyway, this is a unavoidable, undeniable want of ours. And as this want is becoming more present, it's causing the RV I'm living in right now to break down at such a rate that it's just mind-blowing. It's a brand new RV, maybe 4 or 5 months old, and the amount of problems that we've had, like serious problems with like the water and just many things. I should go around and show you all the little problems. Anyway, so it's happening already. So but we're not quite ready to move. It's not going to happen yet. So at least I'm doing, I haven't really talked to my wife too much about this, but what I'm doing is I'm not going to like look up apartments for rent or anything on Trulia. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to see the faults of our situation. It's not perfect. There never is anything in life that's really perfect, but I'm going to still try to remember that I chose this. We like this, even though there's something that now has presented itself that's better. I'm not going to dwell. I'm not going to spend too much of my focus on the future, because that, for one, it neglects the present. It neglects the potential joy and happiness inherent in every present moment, but it also accelerates that whole breakdown phase, which is a pain to deal with. It is. We're going to have to take our RV in and maybe get a hotel, and and the place we've been dealing with is kind of like shady, so we're not even sure if they're going to fix everything. So there's all these little things that are just sort of like common human inconveniences that sometimes have to be dealt with, germane to the breakdown cycle, as I've come to see it. So I'm going to do my best to be as grateful as possible for where I am and not need to have that next step in life taken. Rather, when it does come, I'll be happy and appreciate that too. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to just stay grateful, really. And that's just a matter of being conscious and focusing on the good. Secondly, it's just kind of accepting it. Maybe this won't happen for everybody. I don't know. It happens to a lot of people I talk to. It happens to me anytime I make a big change. My life just kind of breaks down in an obnoxious way. So what I just try to accept that rather than see it as some sort of like something that I have that panicky urgency to deal with and fix and what's wrong. It can really create like those feelings, those panicky feelings like we don't belong here. This isn't right. That kind of mentality, and that just for one fuels the flames, but it also makes you have an unpleasant state of being where you're feeling a lot of fear and anxiety, and then that increases the longing, and it just sort of, you can really take what might be a natural energetic process and amplify it tenfold with not having the right perspective. Not saying my perspective is right, but that's what has worked for me, being grateful and acceptance, and then it tends to make this go a lot more smoothly. So anyways, this is a very, very intense time we're living in with a lot of energy that's catalyzing a lot of movement in human beings right now, especially you guys who are adjusting yourselves to these new frequencies. And in doing that, it can oftentimes cause you to make big shifts that might feel like you're not quite ready for, and as we make these big, sometimes uncomfortable shifts, there's just all these different circumstances that kind of stem out of this acceleration. This is just one of them, and the purpose of this video, again, is just to hope to kind of calm you down, give you something to kind of look forward to, knowing that the bigger the breakdown phase, the bigger the payoff that literally is in the mail. That's not just something I say to be nice. That's true, that you're going to see that cycle out for yourself if you haven't already. Anyways, I'm going to bounce. I'm going to shoot another video, take advantage of this beautiful scenery. I'm in Sedona right now. I'm right actually at Bell Rock. Some of you guys might know Bell Rock. It's one of the vortexes. Anyways, the lighting's not spectacular when I face that way, but I'm trying to pick up that vortex energy for y'all. So anyways, I'm going to close. I'll see you guys soon. Have an amazing day. Peace.